just outside of Chicago.
Galileo.
In the basement of this house.
Party time. Excellent.
Broadcast history is about to be made. It's Wade.
This is definitely the type of place I'm gonna get when I move out of my parents' house.
It's God.
I love you, God.
If she were a president, she'd be Abraham Lincoln.
It's a movie.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Wayne's World.
Hey everybody, welcome here to Watch This Podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devon.
And this week we are traveling to Aurora, Illinois, where Devon watched Wayne's World for the very first time.
Yeah, I've been told that it's weird that I haven't seen it before by a lot of people. Like, not just you guys, like everyone I tell that I'm going to watch it for this podcast.
Yeah, it's weird that you went through college without seeing this.
It's weird that you've gone through this far of life without seeing it, period.
Yeah.
That's
I think it's weird that I went through high school without it too, because I went through a huge phase where this would have been perfect.
To be fair, so did I. I don't think I saw this until I was actually in high school. Like, I remember the first time I saw this movie, I came home one day and my sister was home and she was cracking up at this movie. And I was like, what are you watching? And she's like, I don't know, but he just did this joke with this donut guy and it was hysterical. Here, let me rewind it for you. And we had DVR, so she was able to rewind and show me the, I don't know, but they better not with the donut man. And then he starts stabbing. And ring. She thought it was the funniest thing. I was like, I don't know what this movie is, but I need to watch it. And then I recognized the characters from like SNL stuff. I was like, oh, okay, that's Wayne's World. So yeah, I don't think I saw it until high school, but I don't know how I didn't get you to watch it back then. Because this was
I'm not
right
sure.
up
I think you're holding out on me.
I think,
or you were one of those people that went, you need to watch this movie, and I went, yeah, I'll get there, and then never did.
Yeah. Ryan, when's the first time you saw Wayne's World?
Let's see. I don't remember the first time I saw this movie, but in my earliest memories, I knew this movie.
Okay.
Because it came out in 89, right?
No, it came out in 92.
92. Okay. It's when the movie was starting to film, the ideas, all that, the years get screwed in my head. But anyways, like, I always remember, like, Wayne's World was always a thing. Yeah. Like, with my family, with my dad, and I, like, this is a film that, like, I told you guys, those 2 days that I had off at the start of this week, I watched Wayne's World probably 3 times on Monday, and then I watched it another 2 times on Tuesday. And the reason why I can do that is because just this movie has always been in the background of my life. Like, the guys, the jokes, the music, like, it's a staple of just the background in my life. So it's there.
I love that.
Okay.
I love that.
Okay, so we'll come back to that later because I have had a question for you.
Okay. But
Devon, since this is your first time seeing it, what did you think?
I want to know what I was doing with my life before this, honestly. Okay, so parts of this movie are iconic, and I know about those parts. Like, I knew, like, Bohemian Rhapsody scene. I knew, like, like, I knew that part. Like, but I didn't know, like, in what context any of it was. I didn't know, like, hold on. How to kiss? Stop.
You're going to blame your dog, but we know it was you playing with that shoe toy.
It was. You're right. I just love the squeaky. But yeah, I mean, parts of it are iconic and I knew about, but I didn't know the context. I didn't know anything else about it. I just knew that it was a movie and it was based on SNL sketches. I loved it. I loved everything about it. I'm an idiot and need to have watched this sooner.
I think I can say this is probably the best thing Mike Myers has ever done.
Oh, but there's Love Guru.
And the Cat in the Hat. I forgot about that.
Shit. Oh my God, yeah! No, it's that. That's the best thing.
I went from sitting here being like so happy that like one of my top 5 favorite movies, like you two are like, oh, this is great, this is the best thing he's ever done, and then you bring up Love Guru and Cat in the Hat, and now I just want to strangle both of you.
We were kidding.
I know, but still, there are certain things you don't joke about. That's one of them.
Well, at least
Love Guru and Cat in the Hat.
At least we didn't bring up Shrek. Let's just be happy we didn't bring that up.
Well, Shrek, I like Shrek.
How many of the Shreks do you like, though?
Up until the second one.
Okay, that's the right answer.
Oh, I like roughly 3 Shreks.
Oh, the first three, or is it a weird one? Like, like
It is.
It's like
It is like
Shrek
1,
7.
2, and like 5 or 6 or something like that.
Puss in Boots doesn't count.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. It's okay.
Yeah, I haven't either. Anyway,
I haven't either.
no,
I
like
just thought I'd throw that out there.
this is definitely, you can definitely tell that Mike Myers is on his A game in this. Like, this was like his first big passion project.
Well,
So I think this was after So I Married an Axe Murderer, if I'm correct.
there's a reason though that
Oh.
there's a reason why though that his character Wayne he nails, and it's because it's a character that he's been working on since he was like 17. Because he had,
Really?
yeah. I mean, first off, I mean, obviously, if anybody knows him, he's Canadian, and his character of Wayne didn't first show up on SNL. He was part of a comedy like skit crew in Canada, and Wayne was a one-man skit where he didn't have like a second person. SNL made Garth for him to like bounce off of for the character. But Wayne has been a part of him since he was 17. Like, this is a character he's been working on. And I feel like
Wow.
that is why he was able to nail the character. Because, I mean, honestly, for a long time when I was young, I thought that was just a fun guy who, like, a fun comedian who they, like, gave money to make a movie. And that was, like, him. Like, I mean, granted, he would ham it up. But that's who I seriously thought he was. Like, I thought he had that personality.
Wow.
Outside of Wayne's World, Ryan, what is your favorite Mike Myers thing?
Well, they're Shrek. I like Shrek. More of his, I guess, more of his critically acclaimed stuff. So, like the producers.
He's not in the producers.
Who am I thinking of? The
Matthew
producers?
Broderick.
I'm getting those two confused. Oh, great. Okay. Austin
Oh,
Powers.
I just wanted you to say
Austin
Godzilla.
Powers.
I love
Oh, yeah.
Godzilla. Obviously.
Austin Powers. Austin Powers.
Austin Powers? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
The first two I'll give you. Goldmember is kind of meh.
Yeah.
Here's okay. So I mentioned this before. Like, there's a lot of people who love Ghostbusters 1, and like, out of all those people who love the first Ghostbusters, like half of them are like, yeah, I really like Ghostbusters 2. And the other half is, no, I hate Ghostbusters 2 because Ghostbusters 2 was fan service. Like, it was just good, fun, one-liners, jokes. It was just taking the first movie and just spraying like a cartoon canvas on it. I feel like Goldmember was like them taking a comedy and just being like, hey, let's do fan service with this and just blow it to the wind. And I feel like that was Goldmember.
I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, the best part of Goldmember is Michael Caine,
Yeah, it is.
because Michael Caine's the best part of anything.
That's true, though, right? The Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
And you can't get past Foxy Cleopatra. You just can't.
I remember the days when Beyonce had more than one name. Devon, how about you? Mike Myers outside.
Absolutely. Absolutely Austin Powers.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm as discerning about 1, 2, or 3 as you guys are, but I think 3 is my least favorite.
Okay.
What about you?
I want to say something different, but there's not much. I really enjoyed So I Married an Axe Murderer, which is a movie he did the year after Wayne's World. And the only reason I ever saw that movie is we were playing, remember one Christmas we were playing the movie trivia game Seen It, where you put the DVD in the player and you got to play clips.
Yeah.
And we played a clip and it was Mike Myers as this old Irish grandfather just yelling at this kid, and it made all of us crack up. Nobody knew what the question was, but we were all cracking up at this one scene. And then like the next day we went to Blockbuster. Yeah, I'm dating that myself. We went to Blockbuster and rented that and watched it. It's like, okay, this is weird. This isn't like it's not like sexual comedy. It's more of a just straight comedy. Like, it's not kind of genre. It's not like a genre comedy like Austin Powers is. It's just kind of straightforward comedy.
Interesting.
So it's one that we might do for the podcast down the road.
It is a good. It is good. I haven't seen it in a while, but I saw it a lot when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is funny.
Okay. So we've talked a lot about Mike Myers. Outside of Wayne's World, guys, what's your favorite Dana Carvey movie?
Man, that is a great question, Alan.
That's a tough one.
I've seen Master of Disguise.
That's it. Like that's about
I
it.
think that's all I've seen.
He's in Secret Life of Pets. He plays like the old dog who has like he's like the Hugh Hefner of the dogs who has like the parties and stuff. I remember him in that. He shows up and stuff, but
He's in Spinal Tap.
you can't hear him?
No.
Just say I can cut it out.
Okay, I can hear him, but he sounds like the guy from Independence Day. I gotta call my lawyer. No, fuck my lawyer.
Harvey Fierstein?
Yeah, he sounds like
Why?
Harvey Fierstein.
What did I do?
He doesn't sound like that to me, so
Okay, so it's got to be this then.
yeah. This is
Oh, that's
probably
weird.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. I can live
Yeah,
with
he-
it. It's fine.
he makes-
I just wanted to make
Apparently,
sure. it
Dana
wasn't getting
Carvey makes a
recorded.
cameo in Spinal Tap.
Yeah. He did take a break from acting for the longest time. Last I heard, just this week they announced that he's doing a mini mini series podcast with Conan O'Brien where they just kind of riff on each other for an hour.
I listened to that.
Which is right up my alley, and I might pay for Stitcher Premium to listen to that.
Wow. Have you guys seen the documentary about the Dana Carvey show?
Yes,
It's
is
really
phenomenal.
good.
The Dana Carvey show was a sketch show that they aired on ABC Primetime.
Yeah.
And Ryan, if you've never seen the documentary, you should check it out. It's on
Okay.
Hulu.
Yeah.
And that show gave Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert their start.
Okay.
A bunch of the writing staff became famous. I can't remember who all was there.
We can't talk about one of them.
Oh yeah. The guy who got recast in Secret Life of Pets.
To be honest, though, like when
I think we
when
can
it
say his
comes,
name. Louis C.K. was
Yeah.
got to start there, but
when
Yeah.
it comes to like him though, I mean, like this is the only thing I really know him from. Like my wife loved the one that you mentioned, the
Master of Disguise?
the Master of Disguise. We actually have that
Yeah.
on DVD because she like found it one random day. She's like, "Oh, I'm buying this." So,
Aw.
but yeah, this is really the only thing that I ever knew him from, and
Yeah.
it was just one of those things where it's like I just took Garth for Garth. Like I never really thought about who the actor was, like ever, until I got like out of high school. Like it was just some guy that they got to second hand the Wayne character.
Yeah.
yeah, the Dana Carvey show did have some like out there sketches. Like I really wish that it had kept going, and I'm glad it didn't because it has become such a cult thing.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sketches from that is the waiters who get nauseated at the thought of food.
Yes. Oh, I
have
love
to
that
look
one.
this up. That
That one is
sounds
hysterical.
funny.
It's Steve Carell and Stephen Colbert.
okay.
Like what listing
I've
off
got to
food.
look. I've
Today's
gotta look this
specials
up.
are. I think I was introduced to that in high school by Miss Doherty, the English teacher.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Dang.
Or I think
Good job,
I-
Miss Doherty.
Yeah. I could be. I don't know why, but I'm associating that sketch with her for some reason.
She hated food.
All right, so I mean, Dana Carvey's also known for his impressions on SNL. Like his George Bush impression is like the go-to George Bush impression. Nah, not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Mine sounds a little bit more like Trump, but I can't.
No,
do
it was good.
justice.
It totally reads.
But yeah, so this is a movie based on an SNL sketch. How many other movies based on SNL sketches have you guys seen?
Oh man, that's a
This
good.
is one of those things where it's like I'm gonna name a few, and then you guys are gonna name like all of them. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, that one, that one, that one. So I've got. So there's this one.
Okay.
Night at the Roxbury.
Yes, that is one of them.
I've seen that one. That one's pretty funny. Like I said, at the moment, it's hard for me to think.
The
of them.
only other ones of note are Coneheads,
which I love.
MacGruber, which we established you guys have not seen. And there's another one, Superstar.
No, you're missing one that I know you know.
Which one?
Blues Brothers.
Oh, I've never seen
like
Blues. Never seen it.
Again, another
What? No, what?
Yeah,
another movie of mine that's in my top 10. And
Yeah,
I completely
dude,
forgot
write that
about
down.
that as SNL.
I don't know how I haven't seen Blues Brothers, but
Oh,
it's gotten
man.
past me. I feel like
That's my travel movie.
I feel like I've watched it once, and it was on like TBS, and I fell asleep. Like I tried watching it once, and I need to watch
That's
it.
a long movie. I wouldn't want to watch that on network television.
Yeah.
Because with commercials, that'll be like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely on the list.
Oh yeah.
Probably going to take a break from SNL stuff for a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't believe I forgot about that one.
Oh man, that one's like a huge movie for me.
And there's
Same here.
There's another one.
Man.
The DVD I have is a triple feature of Wayne's World, Coneheads, and Stuart Saves His Family. Which Stuart Saves His Family stars Al Franken.
Is that an SNL movie?
Yeah, because it's based on his character, Stuart. It was a flop, even though Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up. I've never seen it. I've seen Coneheads, but that's because
This wasn't Stuart from how no, because he was from I'm thinking of the Mad TV one, aren't
yeah.
I? So look what I can do.
I think it's a very similar concept, just looking at the character. But I don't know. I've never seen. The only Stewart sketch I know of is the one with Michael Jordan where they're looking in the mirror and he's like giving him affirmational thoughts.
Oh, Stuart. No, I know exactly who that character is. He was somebody where they would focus in and he would just say like, today we're going to learn how to stay calm. And he would talk about how he had to be calm that day. And it would end up with him like throwing something at the cameraman because he had so much pent up rage he couldn't control it. Like it was one of those characters. Like it was all about self love and self healing, yet he couldn't do it himself. Like it's one of those things.
Okay, so I take it you guys aren't too familiar with the Wayne's World sketches on SNL.
No, I know that they existed.
That's about the same thing here.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
It's just the concept that they open the movie with, which is them in the basement doing a cable access show. And I think the only sketch from the original run of SNL that I remember is they did one with Tom Hanks where he was a roadie for Aerosmith.
What?
Yeah, and so he brought Aerosmith to Wayne's mom's house. So they're interviewing Tom Hanks in the basement. And they have a camera up in the kitchen that keeps cutting back and forth to Aerosmith sitting at the kitchen table being fed cookies by Wayne's mom. And when we do mic check and you ever hear me say test 1 2 test 1 2 semblance,
Yeah.
I get that from that. Like that's how Tom Hanks checks the mics.
Oh, I like that.
So, but they've gone back and done Wayne's World a few more times since.
Yeah, I saw that on occasionally online things will come up, and there's one that I see this picture and I feel sad almost. It's a picture of both of them sitting on set. It was like maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and Mike is wearing the Blackhawks jersey and Carvey's wearing like his Garth stuff, and it's so sad because they both look so frumpy.
Oh,
They had a huge falling out.
Well, yeah, that I know.
Yeah.
It's why they
I don't
never
know
made
about
a
that.
third one
Yeah,
in time.
we'll get into that here in a bit. But yeah, they've revisited it for a few. I think they did it once at the MTV Movie Awards when Mike Myers was hosting. They did it at the SNL 40th anniversary show. And then they did Wayne and Garth at the Oscars last year for when they introduced Bohemian Rhapsody.
Which was awkward. I have to say. That
was
awkward.
It wasn't as awkward. And I'm glad we got into this because I forgot to bring this up last week during Bohemian Rhapsody. It wasn't as awkward as Queen featuring Adam Lambert opening the Oscars with "We Will Rock You" and "We Are the Champions." Before they even win any awards, they're singing "We Are the Champions." I'm like, this is weird. That's not how you start a show. Like,
No, I don't love that.
like start the show with Bohemian Rhapsody. Like, do an abridged version of Bohemian Rhapsody. Something
Yeah.
upbeat.
Yeah.
Or any other Queen song, like "Don't Stop Me Now." Like, why does it have to start with "We Are the Champions"? Like, that's a weird way to.
Probably because they're sitting around going, okay, so what's the most commonly known Queen song ever? And they were like, okay, this. I mean, besides Bohemian Rhapsody, obviously, but I mean,
Right.
they're talking about like trying to pick a song that the majority of people are going to know.
But the problem is that like there's no opening monologue. It's just them performing. Like, that was the weirdest part of the Oscars for me. I enjoyed them coming, Wayne and Garth coming out and introducing the film.
Oh yeah.
Now that you've seen Wayne's World, Devon, how do you feel about Mike Myers in Bohemian Rhapsody? Taking it back to last week.
Yeah, it pisses me off now a little bit that he like looked at the camera and he's like, I can't imagine anyone driving their car. It's like, oh, dude.
Yeah.
Because I thought like that car scene was like real quick. I thought it was basically like, I've seen the sketches of Night at the Roxbury and like they'll like do that in the car and it's for maybe all of like 30 seconds that you see them in the car doing that. That's what I thought the Bohemian Rhapsody song or part was here. I didn't know it was almost the whole intro to the movie and then like going around introducing characters with that song as kind of the through line.
Okay. Yeah.
So like, because it's that, it just makes it so much more like, you get what we did there? And I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm not
hate
a
the
fan of
movie
that.
now, but I just hate that part now.
Yeah.
And my feeling about that scene hasn't changed. I still like it.
It hasn't changed how many times have you watched Bohemian Rhapsody in the last week?
Bohemian Rhapsody in the last week?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in the past week.
Okay.
But at the same time,
could you
no,
watch Wayne's World 5 times?
I absolutely know that if I go back and watch Bohemian Rhapsody, that's not going to affect it because of how much I've watched Wayne's World prior to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like
still,
whatever.
It's fine to me. Like, it doesn't.
Okay. So, Ryan, I'll ask you this question first because you've seen the movie so many times. Outside of Wayne and Garth, who is your favorite side character in Wayne's World?
Who's my favorite side character?
Yeah.
Oh man.
This is hard for me to answer because I like this movie so much. Because I could say it's Rob Lowe,
Okay.
but
Uh
I like his assistant so much in this.
Yeah.
Basically, Rob Lowe's like yes man,
Yeah.
and then he
Yeah.
eventually goes like and of course at my favorite line of his period is, and you know what I've learned that just love can exist between two men. Like,
Yeah.
so there's that.
yes.
Cassandra's character is Wayne's love interest. I like her for that, but she doesn't really have a niche in the film besides having that role. There's just so much.
Okay.
I mean,
Devin, I'll throw it to you. Who's your favorite side character in this movie?
Ed O'Neill. Hands
Okay.
down. Ed O'Neill. Oh my God. That
Don't-
through line of him just,
oh yeah,
Don't
yeah.
I'm going to murder this person or I probably murdered this person. Like, oh
It's-
my God. And it's so good.
How come when you kill a man in the heats of war, it's
Yeah.
considered okay, but when you kill him in the heat of passion, it's considered murder. Like, yeah, he is so bizarre and like deadpan. And I feel like this is like right around the time of Married with Children. So this is,
It
like
is.
right when he got his big
Which is
break.
Perfect, because
Oh,
Married with
man.
Children takes place in Chicago. Now, granted, his character on the show worked at a shoe store, but
Right.
to me, it still works out. I mean, I absolutely love that. And it's kind of sad. I've watched this so much that I can actually answer that question.
Yeah. I think
I'm serious. Like, there's a legit answer to that question of his,
which
What?
question?
which is why is it okay to kill a man in battle, but yet to kill him
In heat of
your
passion.
passion, it's considered illegal. There's a legit reason for that.
Okay. You have my
Yourself.
attention.
Okay, so this goes
have my
back
interest.
way, way, way into like when the Catholic Church basically ran Europe, or
Okay.
a part of Europe to a point.
Okay.
obviously there was wars. You needed people to fight these wars. The last thing you wanted was people not to fight because they were afraid of, killing somebody and damning themselves to hell for all of eternity. So they linked murder and emotion and passion to faith. So if you kill a man in battle, there's no passion to do it. You're not, you don't, there's no like built up of anger. There's no jealousy. There's no anger. There's no passion to actually do it. It's just you're following orders. So the actual sin from murder actually comes from your feelings behind it and your emotional state, not the actual action of it. So that carried through, and that's kind of underlining that. Like, that's the answer to his question. Like, that's why.
Interesting.
We got very deep. We're talking about Ed O'Neill in Wayne's World.
But I like that. I like that there's an answer to that.
All right.
It's like, I got my pink slip. Do you want to know what I'd like to do? Yeah, I know what you like to do. You like to grab the guy who did it and rip out his still beating heart so he can look at it and see how black it is before he dies.
No, I want to call my union.
I was actually going to call it the union.
Okay, since Devon stole
I love that.
Since Devon stole my answer will be Alice Cooper.
Oh yeah, I know he'd show up. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, there were so many moments when I was rewatching this for the podcast. I was like, "Oh, Devon has no idea that Alice Cooper's about to show up. He has no clue that Chris Farley's going to be here, just giving exposition."
I had a moment with Chris Farley because I hate me. So I watched this movie last night at 1 a.m, right? Because I needed to watch it for today, and because I really wanted to watch it, and I didn't want to like half-ass it and like watch it like during work or anything like that. So when they got to the Chris Farley part, in my notes here, I put, "Oh my God, is that Meatloaf?" Because I thought that it was just Meatloaf because I'm an idiot. And then Romana goes, "Devon, of course that's not Meatloaf. That's Chris Farley." And then I got more excited for it because I just love everything Chris Farley's in.
But Meatloaf is in this.
What?
Yeah, Meatloaf is in this. He's the other.
Where did I miss
guard.
Meatloaf?
He's the other security guard, I think. I thought I saw.
Oh, he's
him
the other security guard?
Yes, I swear I just. Yeah, he plays Tiny.
Son of a. Okay.
At the gasworks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Meatloaf is in this.
Okay.
So you weren't entirely wrong.
Then maybe I wasn't wrong. Oh, that's awesome.
The Jolly
Yeah,
Green
that was
Giants,
him. Okay.
The Jolly Green Giants, and then the shitty Beatles.
I also like that.
Yeah. Alice Cooper is like, he just steals his scene because it's like completely against type for him. And I love that he's not an actor, but he's able to just go in and just be like, "That's right, Pete." And just talks about Milwaukee like the whole time. And just,
Do you want to know something funny about that?
Sure.
He didn't know that he was going to have a monologue in that scene. He was going to go perform, and then it was going to be like a quick scene, like in the room. Like there wasn't going to be that. He was handed an entire monologue the day he showed up on set, and he had to memorize that. And you know how good he came across? Do you want to know why he came across that well? Alice Cooper is a huge history buff. Like, he loves history. So when he read that, he instantly absorbed it because it was interesting to him. So him like talking like that's him. Like him, I mean, not as like geeky like that, but like him knowing that type of stuff and the way he came across in that scene, that's Alice Cooper. Like that's the true person.
Have you guys heard
I love
the
that.
Alice Cooper radio show that he does?
No, but I'm going to now.
It's syndicated across the country. For us, it's 98.5 out of York. They play.
Okay.
It's just Alice Cooper is a DJ, and he just plays songs and then gives like little tidbits of trivia and like funny comments in between songs. It's hysterical. Our mutual friend of the show, Chad, introduced it to me in college. So we would drive around like State College listening to the Alice Cooper radio show.
That's awesome.
It's phenomenal. Devon, I'm sure you can find it in LA because I'm pretty sure he does it from LA.
Oh, I'm sure I'll love it.
But yeah, definitely check out the Alice Cooper Nights with Alice Cooper, I think it's called.
Nights with Alice Cooper.
Definitely worth listening to.
Definitely gotta look that up.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Chad.
Yep.
French explorers were coming to trade here since the 1600s. I know this movie. I might get a line wrong here or there, but it just like it's playing in my head. Like I can just see it.
Yeah.
It's the only American city to have elected 3 socialist mayors. Does this guy know how to party or what?
Okay. Devin, you've seen Tommy Boy, right?
Yes, of course.
Given the choice between the 2 films,
Oh,
which one would you watch more often?
oh, that's not fair. I
that-
can say. Oh shit,
I'm
dude.
pretty,
Okay,
I'm pretty sure you put Tommy Boy in a high regard, like I do, right?
I do. I think my answer is gonna be Tommy Boy, not because I think it's a better movie. I would put these 2 absolutely toe in toe with each other.
Okay.
But because I have more of a history with Tommy Boy.
Okay, that's fair.
Like that was my go-to movie if I was having a bad day.
I was just curious where you would rank it along that line, because
Yeah.
I figured Tommy Boy is a good baseline for anyone who likes these SNL cast member comedies of the 90s. Because these are the 2 best ones.
Yeah, and honestly, Devin, like,
Yeah.
if you were to ask me that question, take his answer, just flip the movies.
Yeah.
And it's the exact same thing. Like, to me, I love Tommy Boy, but I have more of a history with Wayne's World.
Yeah.
And I connect with the storyline in Wayne's World just because of just the atmosphere of what that movie is in.
Yeah.
I connect with,
Right.
like,
Well, because it's
hardcore.
outside of Chicago and you have like a history
Yeah.
with Chicago.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
for anybody listening who is around Chicago, like my parents grew up in Wooddale. Like that is a suburb of Chicago. Like it's not as far out as Aurora, but it's still in that circle. And I've got family that still lives within an hour and a half of the city, like west of Chicago.
Oh wow.
And you can still get like a metro train like into the city from that far out.
Okay.
Yeah, see, that's cool.
Okay, so Ryan, I'm going to ask you a hard question.
Okay.
What is your favorite gag in this movie? You have to pick one.
See, that's where I see things a bit differently. I will not bow down to any sponsor.
Okay.
Yeah, dude.
It's sad, man. It's like people do things because they get paid, and that's just sad. It's just...
Well, I'm sorry, but you have no choice. It's in your contract. You have no choice.
Yeah, that is the nature of the beast.
It's a choice of a new generation. I never watching it this time. I never realized that all that stuff is on the table in front of them.
Yeah.
I just thought
It's all
kinda
there.
I didn't realize. I never realized that until now.
Little,
Wow.
different.
I remember that commercial. So,
Good.
quick story about when Ryan showed up tonight. I'm sitting on my front porch in my Wayne getup because we did a little video sketch before we recorded, and Devin was stuck in traffic. So I'm in my Wayne getup. He pulls up to the curb. I run up to his passenger side window and do the roll down your window gesture. And he's like, no, I turned off my car. And I was like, no, I just kept doing the gesture to get him to roll down his window. He finally caved, rolled down his window. And I was like, excuse me, do you have any Grey Poupon?
My response was, the difference is I actually remember that commercial, and I remember making fun of that commercial with my friends on the playground before, like, yeah, no.
We get it. You're old.
I know. But still, I mean, like, that joke, though, like, I remember I saw Wayne's World. I have a definite memory of seeing Wayne's World 2 in theaters. I didn't see Wayne's World 1 in theaters, but as far as I can remember.
Put a pin in that because I want to come back to that.
Well, no. That, yes.
Yeah.
But with the Grey Poupon thing, like, that commercial was on, and people made fun of it all the time.
Because
Like,
it's ridiculous.
It was stupid. Okay, so, Devin,
I
do
didn't
you
know it was a
remember that
commercial.
commercial at all? What they were making fun
Yeah, I
of?
didn't know it was No, I didn't know. I thought there was just like I legitimately laughed at that part because
Okay, good.
I just thought it was an absurd, funny thing to ask. I did not know it was a reference.
Okay.
See, that's the great thing about it, though, because this,
Yeah.
as dated as that joke is, it still is able to make you laugh because it's just so
Yeah.
obscure.
Yeah, well,
Right.
that, and it's the fact that, like, they're basically 19, 20, and 21-year-olds in a car driving around at night just being goofballs, and they pull up to this old British-looking, like, limo car, and they ask for some obscure, expensive, like, mustard. So, I
Right.
mean, it works. But, okay, so in the commercial, it has two cars coming up to. It has two cars coming up to a red light in a major city. They're the only two vehicles on the street, and that white car that the guy was sitting in, it's two of those, just two different colors. And so the one guy does the window thing, not as ridiculous as
exaggerated, I'm sure. Yeah.
The windows come down, and the guy leans forward and he asks, "Excuse me, sir, do you have any Grey Poupon?" And the guy goes, "Oh, I do." And he hands the bottle outside of the car to the other guy.
What?
And the other guy reaches out, grabs it, and he puts mustard on like a biscuit or something that he's trying to eat in his limo, and then hands it back. That's the commercial.
I'm in shock
commercial.
right now. I had no idea Ryan could do a Michael Caine impression.
What did they do?
When you did the excuse me, sir, you sounded just like Michael Caine. It was a good Michael Caine. You weren't going for it, but that's what I heard.
Okay, good.
So kudos to you. Okay, so Devon, what was your favorite gag in Wayne's World?
I actually, oh God. So Grey Poupon was definitely one of them. Ryan mentioned another one. If I had to pick a third, it's going to be the countdown part where they couldn't not talk along with the countdown. I don't know why that hit me so hard, but it was so good.
Having worked in that kind of environment before, that is like in college when you're learning that the first time, or even in high school, doing the TV studio, like news broadcast announcements, like that was something that is hard to get through. Like the first few times you do it, like just understanding that no, you don't say 2 or 1.
Well, why? You just don't. Okay,
you just don't. What was yours?
I have 2. Going back to the high school TV thing, I am a big fan of the recreation of the Laverne and Shirley opening. The Schlemiel Schlemazel when they're in Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Because back in high school, I just did recreations of TV openings for everything for the school.
I remember
news.
that. Yeah, that was cool.
So that holds a special place in my heart. And then my second favorite one is towards the end of the movie when Wayne is going out to Chicago to get his girl back from Rob Lowe. He gets pulled over by a cop, and it's the Terminator from T2 looking for John Connor.
Son of a bitch, that was it?
Yeah.
I got so mad at me because I didn't understand that joke. And I was like, it must be too late. I don't get this. I'm going to ask the guys during the podcast.
Hang on.
I didn't know that was the Terminator.
You didn't get that was the T-100? That was the same actor?
That's Robert Patrick.
I've never seen Terminator 2. I've only ever seen the first one.
Oh, my
God. Man.
Well, props for seeing the first one. Most people never see the first one.
Oh, yeah, because
I give you a point. I'll give you a pass since you watched the first one, but we're still writing this down for the show.
No, because this is perfect because there's a sequel to T2 coming out later this year. So tie in.
Yes, good.
Because they're ignoring everything else and just doing a sequel to T2 28 years later.
Is that really what this is? They're just ignoring like T3?
They're ignoring
weird.
Everything. James Cameron came back. He's like, okay, we're going to ignore everything I didn't do. And we're just going to do this.
Okay, so from just to take a little detour, my favorite Terminator film that wasn't by James Cameron is Salvation.
Okay.
Is it the Christian Bale one?
I always wanted to see a Terminator film that was based during the actual wars. Yeah. And to me, and I also love the concept of the fact that he didn't know that he was a Terminator.
Yeah, I like that. I like that one.
That's pretty cool.
Salvation was probably the best out of all of that lineup.
Genesis was probably the worst, but I still kind of liked it.
Like I said, it's probably fan service for you. It probably hit on the main of the points that you wanted to see them kind of elaborate a little bit.
I don't know. I just the best part of that movie was J.K. Simmons at one point says, "Goddamn time traveling robots and their time traveling bullshit."
That's really on the nose.
Yeah.
Wait till you guys see the Predator, then you're really gonna, because it does the same thing in that.
The Predator.
Oh, Predator does it?
Yeah, it does stuff like that in the film.
I can't wait to watch that movie.
Anyway.
Okay, so Ryan hinted at this a little bit, and I stopped him. Ryan, you love Wayne's World 1. What is your opinion on Wayne's World 2?
My same opinion of Ghostbusters 2. Wayne's World 2 is fan service, and I love it. I like it. In fact, the DVD that I have that has Wayne's World on it, it's a combo. It has Wayne's World and Wayne's World 2. And I had to remember to not hit play as soon as the first one was done to play the second one, because I wanted to watch the first one a ton of times just to get it, refreshed a little bit and just kind of notice things I didn't really notice before, which I did.
So when you're usually watching Wayne's World 1, do you just let it play into 2?
Yeah, I just let it play into 2 because to me it's like they go hand in hand. Now there are things that I will critique about the second one, which I totally get that like some people don't like. The second one, the skits go too long. They play the jokes out too much in the second one. And and plus it suffers because you can really tell, and this is the one movie that I've always said about this, and it's the one time that I'll actually bring a director up. You can tell there's a difference between the first one and the second one. And even though Mike and the original director to Wayne's World didn't get along at all, I really feel like their fighting made Wayne's World what it was, and it was missing from Wayne's World 2. But I gotta say, I love Wayne's World 2 as much as I like Wayne's World 1. But it does suffer a little bit from not having that back and forth between the original director.
Yeah,
I really want to watch this one now.
Wayne's World 2 is strange. I haven't seen it in years. I'm going to say something that's kind of a spoiler, but also confusing and might get Devon to watch it sooner. I haven't seen it since I've actually seen The Graduate, so I feel like I would appreciate the ending a lot more.
I think you would. You would. Because
I've seen The Graduate.
One of my top...
Oh, then you're going to love Wayne's World 2.
Yeah, one of my top 5 gags in Wayne's World 2 is when he goes to the gas station.
Yeah.
And the original actor starts going for it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. The original actor, and he's like, "Can we please get somebody better? Can we get somebody better?"
It's funny because we could say what happens in that scene, and it'd be kind of like what happens in Endgame. We could say how ridiculous that movie is, and Devon might think we're lying.
Yeah, no, and it's great. But my what was it? I was thinking about it on the way over here. Oh, in Wayne's World 2, my favorite. One of my I can't really say it's my favorite. It's up top with 5 different jokes, and the second one that I absolutely love. They bring up Kenny G.
Yes.
It's been a while, so
they bring up Kenny G and they focus in on Garth, and Garth goes, "Kenny G," and then you start hearing the flute or the whatever that he plays,
the alto sax.
And then it focuses in on Garth, and it fades to a theater full of white couples in their 30s, and they're holding hands, and they're just peaceful and smiling and looking at the stage and smiling. And then you start hearing a dentist drill on a tooth, and then it pans over, and Garth's inside a dentist chair at the concert looking with the drill going into his gum, and he's going, so it's like Kenny G's reminding him of getting a tooth pulled. It was great.
But I love that. I love everything about that.
So, I mean, Wayne's World 2 has a lot of good moments in it. It's just, it's hard it's a hard watch for some people.
It suffers from
that.
Sequelitis. It suffers from sequelitis.
It does.
Yeah.
And, like I said, there are good moments in it. So, I mean, Devon, it's definitely a good watch at least once.
I'm going to have to borrow it because my wife likes Wayne's World. She's never seen Wayne's World 2.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to borrow it. At some point.
Like I said, the jokes have some pacing issues. Some of the gags are pulled out a little bit too far than what they should be, but it's still overall good. In my mind.
Considering that we've seen them do these characters again and they seem to be on talking terms again, are we down for a Wayne's World 3?
I would do it. I'd be okay with it. If they did a Dumb and Dumber a couple of years later, I would do a Wayne's World 3.
I see that. I don't know. Because here's my thing. It's about young guys who have a cable access show, which is really not that different from what we're doing here. I mean, we're doing a podcast where we're just talking about stuff that we're into. Wayne and Garth do the same thing. It's pretty much, I mean, it's the same, but
is podcasting the new public access?
It is.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
It is. So, I mean, you've got that, but as they get older, the thing is, it's that's part of what the allure of this movie, of like Wayne and Garth and like the age that they're at the time in their life, because they're in this weird spot between graduating high school but not being to the point of age where they need to get their life really together and on track. Because what ends up happening is, like, you've got Wayne, who is basically like the 21, 22-year-old, kid that goes out every night to like a rock show and and has like a part-time job somewhere just to make ends meet. And you've got that life that he has where he can do all these cool things. You make a movie where he's like in his 40s and 50s, and he probably has, he's probably, if he's single, they're going to portray it that he's either divorced or, that he's this like awesome dad. And then to me, it's going to turn into daddy daycare.
Here's my pitch for Wayne's World 3. Wayne and Garth both have kids, but they're off of college. So now they actually have time to do their show again. So it's them getting back into the swing of it. Doing this show, maybe not for cable access because that's not a thing anymore, but doing a YouTube show, putting it on the internet and having them like jump back into it this many years later and like put them in the digital world instead of analog. It's digital now. And
so I can see that being fun.
What I always assumed that they would go, and not that I would like it, but what I always assumed they would do for a third one, like past 2004, let's say, like I always thought that if they were to somehow pull together and make a third one, it would be like they made it, they turned into like the new Late Show, or they got a show on MTV where they do their thing and they talk to like, bands and stuff. And it's about how like they made it, they peaked, they fell apart, and then the show is about them getting back on top again. Like that's the only thing that I can think of, because that's how 1 and 2 go. Like 1 and 2 is basically about how they have the show, things are really good, something happens, it crumbles, they have to build it back up again. And I feel like they would do that same thing in a third one. Yeah.
I don't think you can do them with kids, because Bill and Ted are doing that exact same movie next year. And I think
that's what I was going to say.
If you can do
like if Bill and Ted does well, I feel like this one could be cool.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be easier to do a Bill and Ted.
Yeah, but I've never seen Bill and Ted, so I'd much rather see Wayne's World 3.
Bill and Ted is not in my top 15 at all, but I mean, they're good movies.
Keanu? Who's Keanu? I've never been on the internet. Who's this Keanu you're talking about?
My whole apartment is crushing on Keanu. It's a problem.
Keanu is God.
He was a skin in Fortnite, and I did not buy him. I have the mock-up version of him still, but I did not buy the actual John Wick skin.
Oh no!
But yeah, I play Fortnite.
Just slipping that one in there.
Yeah, I'll throw that out there with shame. But not. Judge me all you want. It's fun and free. Okay, so any other thoughts that we want to bring up on Wayne's World?
Go ahead.
Oh, so I love comedies. Obviously, I watch a lot of comedies. I watch comedies in a way that's really weird for me, though, where I'll watch them and I will appreciate the shit out of them. And I will think their jokes are great, but I won't laugh once. Like I'll watch, I think the John Mulaney stand-up special that he won like an award for, I watched front to back multiple times. I love it. I don't think I've laughed out loud once at it. I laughed out loud at least 5 times during this movie. And I didn't think that would happen, because I thought I thought I knew the plot. I thought I knew the pacing. I thought I knew some of the jokes. I figured I would have seen something that's been done later and done better. And this movie completely surprised me in that regard, where like I genuinely at like 2 a.m. in my apartment was like cackling in the living room, because like Wayne went, "There's not even film in this camera." And then all of the films, like, holy shit. Like it got me good a lot.
Did you get flashbacks to when we were on set for The Dark Knight Rises, to when the IMAX camera popped open?
Oh my god, absolutely.
And Chris Nolan's just on the field in the end zone shaking his head, and the DJ, the MC for the day was just like, and that's the sound of $10,000 going down the toilet. Please stand by.
Good on you, MC.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have, depending on the direction we're going on this, there's a lot of stuff about this movie that I absolutely love that has to do with Mike and him as a kid growing up, developing this character. So the Gasworks is an actual rock bar in Toronto.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's actually based off a place that he's actually been. A lot of things about this movie, Devon, inside our group chat, you were talking about how, you know, like you said, and I don't want to embarrass you, but you asked about the whole, like, you know, is this supposed to mean that they're Canadian, or was the writer Canadian because of all of
they
the,
were
like,
playing hockey?
Yeah. So to a point, yes, from what you were saying, because Mike's from Canada. So, I mean, you've got that. So there's a few things about this movie that somebody who has family in Chicago that we always love to point out to people who don't know. So in that scene where they're driving downtown and they're blasting, you know, Queen, none of that stuff's in Aurora.
Oh.
Maybe like 2 or 3 things of it are actually in Aurora, but it's mainly just stuff around Chicago.
Oh, okay.
And none of that stuff's on the same street.
Good.
But it's all landmarks that if you're from Chicago and you're from Northern Illinois, you would have noticed those things at some point. So it gives you a point of reference.
Yeah. That's cool.
They only spent 2 days filming in Chicago out of the 35 days it took to film the movie. The rest of the film was done in LA. It
was only 35 days to film this?
39. They filmed it in 35 days, and only 2 of those days was done filming in Chicago. Most of this film was filmed out in LA.
Part of the reason I think they only had so many days to do it is because they probably did this on hiatus for SNL.
Oh.
And they only spent $14 million making it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this movie made 15 its first weekend. Well, more than that. Like yeah. So some funny things that I learned recently about it. Cassandra's loft, the building that her loft is in, where they filmed it, is across the street from the building where the Gasworks is in LA.
Oh, that's cool.
There's that.
If you go on IMDb, you can find the actual addresses for these places if you want to go and like take pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's where I'm going.
Do it for the Instagram.
Okay. So a few things that I have to, because I'm a huge Blackhawks fan and I love hockey. So there's a few things in this movie that I have to talk about. I have to bring this up.
All right, make it quick.
Oh, of course I'm going to make it quick. So Stan Mikita's Donuts does not exist. They filmed that in a Tim Hortons, which Tim Hortons is actually named after a famous hockey player. So they pretty much just renamed it a different hockey player, and there you go.
Now I want donuts.
So the cop at the beginning, the one where he was like, "Oh, I know what you're doing, hawk, bacon, police officer." Yeah. His name, Koharski. He's actually, and I'm just going to read this. The police officer in the shop, Officer Koharski, there was a referee in the National Hockey League whose name was Dan Koharski. And he was yelled at by the New Jersey Devils coach at the time, "Have another donut, you fat pig," during a playoff game. So there's a lot of like rumors going around that he's named after that ref because of that line, because you could hear it on the broadcast that
could you?
Yeah, you could. So there's that. What did you guys think of the gag with the Stairway to Heaven thing?
I'm frustrated that they still don't have it fixed for home video. But
What do you mean fixed?
The DVD I have, it does not play Stairway.
No DVD, no
Yeah.
cassette does.
I'm upset that they
No,
never.
I don't think.
Here's
Yeah,
okay.
I
So
don't think he plays Stairway.
no, he
he
doesn't.
did in the theatrical version.
Yeah.
But then they didn't get the rights for the home release.
The studio company that owns the rights, well, the record that owns the record company that owns the rights to Stairway to
Yeah.
Heaven from Led Zeppelin, after the
Yeah.
initial release in theaters, there was a lot of legal dispute about it. So eventually the studio basically just keyed in notes that had nothing to do with the song for the video and TV release. So anybody who saw this in
Yeah.
theaters, you would have heard the first 3 notes to Stairway to Heaven. But the joke is that in the 70s and even in the 80s, Stairway to Heaven was played so much that there were actually record stores in in the UK that would fine people if they played that song because it was played so much. And that's the joke. That's what that joke is basically taking a shot at. It's the fact that they're in a music store and it's still like it's the early 90s and Stairway to Heaven, people love Led Zeppelin still, and it was such song was overplayed so much people were just tired of it. So that's what the joke was.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And then of course you have Carvey actually playing the drums, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I love that they did that.
Oh, that's actually him playing the drums?
Yeah, he could play the drums.
No way.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, fun fact: the episode of the Twilight Zone that Garth describes does not exist.
Really?
Yeah. Evidently.
Oh. There's a lot of Twilight Zone I haven't watched, and it sounded so good. I was like, yeah, you know what? That's probably one.
Have you watched any of the new Twilight Zone?
No, and it's a real sore spot for me. I want to watch it so bad because I love Jordan Peele, but I will not watch it on a stupid platform, and I want that platform to fail so it comes to real platforms.
Okay. That's fair. Well, it's going to come on to DVD eventually, so.
Yes. All right. Have you seen it? Is it good?
I saw the first 2 episodes. So I saw the Kumail Nanjiani episode and I saw the Adam Scott episode.
I love Camille and Adam Scott. Were they good?
They were. The Adam Scott episode is the there's something on the wing. Something. Like it's a new take on that. And it's really good. It has to do with podcasts too. So
Weird.
So I found out a few things about some of the actors in this. So Rob Lowe, first off, I had no idea that he had a sex tape scandal back in the late 80s.
Oh yeah, he had a bunch.
He did?
Yeah. The reason why Rob Lowe is even in this film is because they could get him cheap to actually play the role. And this was his first movie after his sex tape scandal that happened in 89.
Oh, wow.
That's why I was thinking of 1980. That's why I was thinking of that. And you were asking about our favorite scenes. Do you want to know what his favorite skit was in that entire movie?
Which one?
What?
The one where Garth takes a hammer and whacks the robot arm. They had that shot, if I remember correctly, that shot took more retakes than any other skit that they did in the entire movie because he could not keep a straight face. And actually, if you watch the movie, when Garth takes the hammer and he's slamming on the hand because it's moving, if you look at Lowe's face, he's actually looking at the floor. Because he can't look at the hand because he'll start to laugh. And that's why when like he doesn't have any lines after that, it's just he stares at Garth and Garth just says, "We fear change." And it's just like that was his favorite thing. He could not get past that scene.
Yeah,
flat out couldn't.
Rob Lowe had a weird career in the 90s because he's in this after that scandal.
Yeah.
And I think something else happened because he's not credited in Tommy Boy. Like he's not listed in the credits for Tommy Boy.
Weird.
Because of something like that. I mean, he's in Tommy Boy, obviously, but he's not credited.
Yeah.
Which Chris Farley's scene in Wayne's World is his first motion picture. That is his motion picture debut. Is Wayne's World. Chris Farley's first time in a big screen movie is that scene in Wayne's World.
Aww.
Down to St. Louis, he's going to go through Chicago back up to Detroit, and then he points to the left, and then he moves his hand like 2 feet over in front of him.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's weird because this is the first, like, it's weird that you have both versions of Shrek on screen at the same time.
Oh, you do though.
Chris Farley was supposed to be Shrek.
Yeah.
And then
He recorded like all of his lines,
He
right?
recorded most of it. And then I think they changed some of it when he died because they couldn't do retakes with him. So they recast and brought in Mike Myers.
Yeah.
But you can see
And
like,
Mike Myers reshot twice, or redid his vocals twice too.
yeah, because he did it once without the Scottish accent, and then he did it with the Scottish accent.
Yeah,
the Scottish accent makes it.
It does.
It
does. It was such a good call.
I would love to see whatever scenes they have in the final film that had Chris Farley's lines, like what he recorded. I would love to see that.
Yes,
That's one of those things that's lost to time and in a vault at DreamWorks somewhere. So what we need to do is get a job at DreamWorks just so we can get in good with Spielberg and get that stuff.
Oh, worth it. I'll do it.
Yeah, you're in LA. Get on it.
It's like next door.
Yeah.
So
And where are we on the Fox infiltration and the Power Rangers Turbo deleted scenes? Any updates there?
I have a contact, and they hate me now.
Oh,
So
really?
I kind of blew it. So I'll cookie cake solve things. I might just send some cookie cakes that way. We'll see what happens.
What is a cookie cake?
What? A cookie cake? It's a cake, but it's a cookie. Like it's a.
Oh,
then you
okay.
write like messages and icing on top, and like
Gotcha.
it's the truest form of apology.
Okay. Gotcha.
Oh, there's something that popped in my head. The Bohemian Rhapsody was a last second add-in for this movie.
Yeah.
Really?
It was supposed to be a Guns N' Roses song. It was supposed to be Welcome to the Jungle from Guns N' Roses.
I think Bohemian Rhapsody works better.
It does.
Yeah.
It was something that the original director had to force kind of a little bit. Like it wasn't Mike's first choice. Like it was pretty much changed at like the last second. And the reason why Mike is having a stiff neck in the car compared to everybody else is because his neck hurt that morning and he got into a yelling match with the director about like she was telling him to like bang his head and he said no, my neck hurts, and there was actually turned into a shouting match. And Carvey hates his close-up scene where he's wrongly singing along to the song because he didn't have the time the other actors did to learn the lyrics. So they pretty much they caught him trying to catch up with the words as he was hearing it, and they spliced it over a different part of the song, and he hates that scene.
Yeah,
but I thought that was funny though.
Yeah, it is.
It is funny.
It seems like Garth. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if that was like a character thing or if that was something that happened in post like that.
Yeah. So there's that, and there's one person we didn't talk about inside this entire movie.
Okay, who's that?
True.
TJ's in this
TJ
from Gilmore Girls.
How's TJ?
He's the one that marries Luke's sister.
Oh,
I'm an escrow.
Oh, I forgot about him.
He's in it. He's one of the crew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
He's the one that has the most speaking lines. Of
Okay. I love you, man.
No, it's not him. It's the other one.
Okay.
It's the shorter one. It will. As soon as you see him, it'll hit you.
I just didn't really care for his character in Gilmore Girls that much, so.
I thought he was funny because I knew him from Wayne's World and I recognized him.
Yeah, maybe going back and having that in mind, I'll appreciate it a little bit more.
It's my thing. Like when my wife had me watch Gilmore Girls, like to me, I feel like Gilmore Girls and Wayne's World is in the same universe. It's just TJ was young, and this is when he was young, and he was a rockhead, and then because his character is pretty much the same. Like it's pretty much the same.
All right, Devon, anything else?
Let me think. I just watched this movie and went, I just want to be friends with these people. Like, I want to meet the real life Wayne and Garth, and I just want to hang out with them. Like, I want to be, what was his name? I want to be one of the people in the back. Like, I don't need to have a big part in their lives. I just want to hang out with them.
Yeah. Well, this is our public access show, so.
Exactly. And when I come visit, we'll do the same thing to Queen.
God.
We will. We will.
Yes.
Oh, yes. It will happen. Oh, man. Okay. So I think that's it for Wayne's World.
Yeah.
And I know I'm probably going to be thinking about 5 other things I wanted to say or talk about, but it's
Yeah.
okay. Because
No,
I just can't. It's
yeah.
so much stuff in that movie for me that
There
I just
is.
absolutely love.
Yeah.
We tend to go long on these, so if you stick around with us, thanks. We're trying to keep these under an hour. We're a little bit over now, but
Oh, God. Yeah.
But it's a good movie.
yeah.
It's worth it.
Yeah, we're going to figure out what we're doing next week. I feel like we need to make Ryan
great.
watch something that he's never seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll figure that out.
Yeah. What haven't you seen?
Do we want to do a Kevin Smith movie next week? Because
I'm all for it.
I would do a Kevin Smith movie.
All right, so next week, tune in. We will be talking about Chasing Amy.
Oh, yes.
So for You Have to Watch This Podcast, I'm Alan.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Devon.
Hold on, we did that wrong. We need to do it. We need to do the Wayne's World ending, okay, guys? All right, for You Have to Watch This Podcast, I'm Alan. Party on, Ryan.
And I'm Ryan. Party on, Alan.
And I'm Devon. Party on, both of you.
Party on, Devon. This is going to be an endless cycle of party ons.
I love it.
All right. See you next week. Shwing.
Later.